Have you ever wondered how a nomadic tribe from the Eurasian steppe could bring empires to their knees? Who were these warriors of old, these Huns? Let's rewind to the 4th century AD. The Roman Empire was in its glory, but a new power was emerging on the fringes of civilized world. A force that would challenge the might of Rome and redefine warfare forever. They were the Huns, a nomadic people from the vast Eurasian steppe, and they were about to make history. The Huns were not born warriors. They were herders and hunters, living a nomadic lifestyle on the unforgiving steppes. The harsh environment forged them into hardy individuals, capable of enduring extreme conditions. Their survival depended on their ability to adapt, to move swiftly, and to fight when necessary, and fight they did. Their nomadic lifestyle played a crucial role in shaping their approach to warfare. Mobility was their greatest asset. They didn't build fortresses or cities. Instead, they lived on horseback, moving their entire civilization, lock, stock, and barrel, from one place to another. This mobility allowed them to launch lightning-fast attacks on their enemies, hit them where it hurt, and retreat before any significant retaliation could be mounted. Their emergence as a formidable force didn't happen overnight. It all began with a shift in the power dynamics of the Eurasian steppe. As the powerful tribes fell into internal strife, the Huns seized the opportunity. They united under a single banner and began a series of conquests that would eventually bring them to the doorsteps of the Roman Empire. Their rise was meteoric. Their ferocity in battle, their adaptability, and their refusal to play by the conventional rules of war made them a nightmare for any army that stood in their way. They were not just warriors, they were a force of nature, a storm sweeping across the steppes, leaving devastation in their wake. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the heart of the Hunnic battle tactics that made them the terror of their age. Imagine a horde of horsemen thundering across the plains, arrows flying with deadly precision. This was the reality when you faced the Huns on the battlefield. Now picture this. The Huns didn't just ride horses, they practically lived on them. These nomadic warriors were practically born in the saddle, developing an almost symbiotic relationship with their steeds. This provided them with exceptional mobility and speed on the battlefield, which was a significant advantage. But let's not forget their primary weapon, the composite bow. Their archery skills were second to none. The Huns could loose a volley of arrows with deadly accuracy while charging at full gallop, leaving their enemies little chance to react. This combination of mobility and ranged firepower made them a nightmare to contend with. Now imagine facing not just their physical prowess but also their psychological warfare. The Huns knew the power of fear. They cultivated a disheveled, even barbaric appearance to terrify their enemies. Their hair was matted into fearsome spikes with animal fat and ash, and their faces bore scars from self-inflicted wounds, a rite of passage to demonstrate their fearlessness in battle. Their terrifying battle cries, echoing across the open plains, only added to the dread. And then, there was Attila. Rising to power in the mid-5th century, Attila was a leader as ruthless and cunning as they come. Under his command, the Huns became an even more formidable force. Known as the Scourge of God, his reign was marked by relentless campaigns against the Roman Empire, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. Attila's leadership, combined with the Huns' unique battle tactics, made them a force to be reckoned with. They didn't just wage war, they brought terror, they brought chaos. They were the embodiment of a nightmare for those who stood against them. But what made these tactics so devastatingly effective? Let's delve deeper. Fear, chaos, destruction. This was the legacy of the Huns' warfare. But how did they change the course of history? The Huns, with their nomadic lifestyle and fearsome reputation, were not just marauders, but catalysts of change. Their warfare tactics, particularly their use of swift horseback archers, sent shivers down the spine of their adversaries and redefined the battlefield in Europe. The Huns' military strategy was built on speed, flexibility, and surprise, a stark contrast to the more static and heavily fortified Roman approach. Their fast, light cavalry could outmaneuver and overwhelm more cumbersome Roman legions, forcing their adversaries to rethink their tactics. This shift towards more mobile warfare had a profound influence on military thinking, but the Huns' impact extended beyond their immediate adversaries. Their tactics were adopted and adapted by later nomadic armies. When we look at the Mongols, for instance, we see the echo of the Huns. The Mongols, like the Huns before them, used light cavalry to devastating effect, spreading their empire across Asia and into Europe. The Huns also had a significant psychological impact. Their reputation for brutality, bolstered by their terrifying appearance and swift, unpredictable attacks, instilled a deep-seated fear in their enemies. This psychological warfare, exploiting the fear and uncertainty of their adversaries, became a key part of their military strategy. The Huns' influence can even be seen in the political landscape of Europe. Their incursions into the Roman Empire contributed to its eventual fall, changing the political map of Europe forever. The power vacuum, left by the fall of Rome, led to the rise of new kingdoms and the start of the Middle Ages. So, while the Huns themselves may have disappeared, their influence lingers on. Their tactics, their psychological warfare, their role in the fall of Rome, all of these have left indelible marks on the annals of warfare. The Huns may have vanished into the mists of time, but their battle tactics echo through the ages. So, did the Huns win through sheer terror alone, or was there more to their success? As we've seen, the Huns' battle tactics were a complex weave of strategy, psychology, and brute force. They were masters of mobility, using their swift and hardy horses to traverse vast distances with ease. This allowed them to strike where least expected, leaving their enemies in a perpetual state of unease. Their psychological warfare was just as potent. The Huns, known as the Scourge of God, instilled fear in the hearts of their enemies even before the battle began. They weaponized terror, using it to break the will of their adversaries. And let's not forget their tactical flexibility. The Huns were able to adapt to changing battlefield conditions, altering their strategies to outwit their foes. This adaptability was a key factor in their military successes. The Huns, a force that swept across continents with a fury that still reverberates in our history books. Their tactics, terrifying yet effective, stand as a testament to their power and influence in the annals of warfare.